Hello, you are watching the staff presentation for the first online engagement session for Arlington County's review of the site plan project known as Courthouse Landmark Redevelopment. I'm Chrissy Wallantish with the Department of Community Planning, Housing, and Development, and I will serve as the project manager for the site plan. More materials for this project can be found on the site's webpage, which is linked to on this cover slide. On the website, in addition to staff's video, you will find a video presentation from the applicant that goes into more detail on the proposed design of the site. Also on the website are 2 introductory videos from staff and the applicant, as well as a virtual walking tour which will help orient you with the site. The agenda topics for this online engagement session will consist of a brief introduction and background on the site, which are covered in more detail in staff's introduction video, so please be sure to check out the intro video on the website. Also on the agenda is a brief overview of the site's land use and zoning, then we'll go into more detail on the site design and characteristics, building architecture, historic preservation, and finishing up with open space. Please note there is a corresponding staff report to this presentation on the project's website that provides additional details on these topics. For a brief overview of this project, the county is reviewing a development application from Greystar Real Estate Partners that consists of requests to rezone the landmark block from C3 to CO and for a new site plan to construct a 20-story, 418-unit residential apartment building with ground floor retail and a below-grade parking garage. As you can see from the image on the left, the site is within the boundaries of the Clarendon Courthouse Civic Association, but is also directly adjacent to the Radnor-Fort Myer Heights and Colonial Village, and is within close proximity to Lyon Village. So community involvement from all 4 nearby and residing civic associations is important for this project. The site is governed by the Courthouse Sector Plan and the Courthouse Square Addendum to the Sector Plan, which was adopted in 2015. The site is currently zoned C3, which allows for general commercial uses, and is shown in the map on the left. The surrounding zoning to the site is mostly CO, but with C3 and CO 2.5 found across Wilson and Clarendon Boulevards. The map on the right shows the site's designation on the county's general land use plan, which is office, apartment, hotel, high. The site is also within the Courthouse Square Special District. In the introduction video, I provided an overview of the 10 priorities of the Courthouse Square Addendum to the Courthouse Sector Plan, which is the major long-range planning tool that will guide staff's review of the redevelopment of the landmark block. In order to properly fulfill the overall goals of the Courthouse Square Addendum, specific guidance is provided for redevelopment of the landmark block, including on aspects such as building use, location, massing, and height, frontages and streetscape design, parking and loading, historic preservation, sustainability, open space, and design of the Yule Street Promenade, and for vehicular and pedestrian circulation and connectivity. Throughout the review of this project, staff will be referring to the Sector Plan Addendum and noting where specific guidance is provided for these aspects of the development proposal. This slide shows aerial renderings of the development proposal from various viewpoints, as well as an overview of the project. This table provides a summary of some of the project's development statistics, including density, height, and parking. Also listed are the requested zoning ordinance modifications, several of which, or those with asterisks, are supported by the zoning ordinance exceptions that are permitted for sites within the Courthouse Square Special District. The image on the right shows the general site plan and footprint for the proposed building. The details on the left are from the Courthouse Square Addendum's guidance for site design. I'll go through the proposal's conformance from the top. Ground floor retail is proposed along Clarendon Boulevard, the North Yule Street Promenade, and a portion of 15th Street North. The proposed primary use of the building is residential, with retail proposed on the ground floor. The proposed building height of 210 feet is in line with the sector plan guidance. Access to the parking garage and loading area is proposed from North Courthouse Road, which is also in line with the sector plan guidance. For building massing, the applicant has designed the building with prominent step backs on the north and south sides of the building where second floor terraces with amenities are located, and a much slighter step back on the western side that faces the promenade. The sector plan calls for a step back height between 10 and 30 feet in these locations, which the proposal adheres to. Lastly, the applicant has generally followed the guidance for historic preservation by reincorporating 2 historic facades back into the development proposal. One aspect of the site design that we will continue to review is the sector plan's guidance for building arrangement along a north-south axis. The sector plan suggests that a formal and linear relationship between buildings with the central square reinforces the civic nature of Courthouse Square, and that major building entrances should also reinforce this axial relationship, as should building massing, architectural features, and facades. Again, this is something we'll continue to keep in mind, especially when considering the proposed locations of the 2 historic facades. For architecture, we have discussed and shown building form, massing, height, tapering, and setbacks, and the applicant will provide even more detail in their presentation. Various architectural aspects and details on the interior layout are listed on the slide. In regard to architectural guidance for the landmark block, the sector plan envisions a traditional building with appropriate massing and high-quality building materials. The sector plan also provides specific guidance on building frontages and streetscape dimensions for all 4 frontages of this block, guidance for which is shown in the lower right figure on this slide. The sector plan instructs that the north section of the promenade shall serve as the main gateway into Courthouse Square from Wilson and Clarendon Boulevards and should include ample outdoor seating and transparency. Staff will continue to work with the applicant to ensure each of these 4 building frontages and their associated streetscapes meet the guidelines set forth in the sector plan. Moving along to historic preservation, there are 2 historic buildings on this site that we will review. They are ranked as important category, which is the 2nd highest ranking on the HRI. These are the First Federal Savings and Loan Building and the Investment Building. The Historic Resources Inventory is a planning tool that is used to help carry out the goals of the Historic Preservation Master Plan. The HRI is used to identify, rank, and protect historic garden apartments, shopping centers, and commercial buildings based on their architectural significance and physical integrity. Important HRI properties are those that are central to the county's history, but are slightly less distinctive than or have less physical integrity than essential resources, which is the top ranking in the HRI. There are 3 major goals the county seeks when evaluating HRI important properties that are proposed for redevelopment: to protect and promote the reuse of those properties, to collaborate with the owners to preserve the building's historical and material integrity, and in some cases, to require that the development proposal be reviewed by the Historical Affairs and Landmark Review Board, or the HALRB. In regard to the Courthouse Square addendum guidance for these historic properties, facade preservation is recommended, with sensitivity to how the facades fit with the new infill development. Here is a look at the current existing facade for the First Federal Savings and Loan Building. It has been extensively altered over the years, and consequently, as the building is developed, more changes proposed to accommodate new uses and the larger development as a whole. Historic preservation staff has noted that the building should retain its prominent corner location as the design and architecture reflect this siting. The proposed construction of a parking garage for the larger development underneath the building will require that the facade be dismantled during construction and reconstructed in the original orientations. To the right on the slide, you can see the applicant's proposal for a slight redesign of the historic facade, which utilizes the original 1946 massing and fenestration patterns. This slide shows the historic facade within the context of the ground floors of the proposed building along Clarendon Boulevard in the top image and along the North Yule Street Promenade in the lower image. This is a view of the investment building on 15th Street North. The facade of the investment building features the significant architectural details that contribute to the building's style and significance. The applicant currently proposes to relocate this facade from its current mid-block location on 15th Street North to the southeast corner of the landmark block at the intersection of 15th Street North and North Courthouse Road. Relocation of the facade would require dismantling and reinstallation of the facade to its newly proposed location. This slide shows the historic facade within the context of the ground floor of the proposed development along 15th Street North in the top image and North Courthouse Road in the lower image. Most of the project's open space area for calculation purposes can be found within the streetscapes along Clarendon Boulevard, North Courthouse Road, and 15th Street North, as well as on the second level where the applicant proposes 2 terraces with amenities overlooking both Clarendon Boulevard and 15th Street North. The percentage of total open space on site is about 45%. The plan on the right here shows the proposed tree plantings around the site, with special emphasis along the pedestrian promenade. The Courthouse Square sector plan recommends greening of roof and terrace areas, which should be planted and visible from the center square and should incorporate biophilic design elements. As for the promenade, the sector plan envisions this feature to serve as an extension of open space found throughout Courthouse Square and should be surfaced with distinctive materials and include canopy trees to provide shade. More details on the proposed open space and promenade will be provided by the applicant. One note to mention on off-site open space is that the Courthouse Square addendum envisions a central square or park where the municipal parking lot is currently located. Although this area is not within the landmark block, there might be ways to incorporate aspects of the vision for the square within this project. More details on potential off-site open space improvements will be discussed later on throughout the project's review. Here's an outline of the public review process scheduled for this project. We are currently within the time frame for the first online engagement session, where members of the public have an opportunity to provide feedback and questions on the topics that have been covered during this presentation. Please only provide comments and questions for topics discussed. To provide feedback for this session, go to the project's webpage and click on the link under Online Feedback Opportunity box. Additional topics such as transportation, sustainability, Community benefits and construction details will be discussed during the second online engagement session in October, so please hold feedback on those aspects of the project until that time. More information on the county's new public review process for site plans in light of the COVID pandemic can be found by using the link on the bottom of this slide. This concludes staff presentation for the first online engagement session. Thank you for watching.